See that? Don't interact with people from Melbourne. I'm from Melbourne. Hi everyone, it's Musical Aviator. We continue the Round Australia tour out of Coober Pedy today. As he walks around in Coober Pedy. Here's the Rex terminal. We're still parked over there. Let's roll out. Long flight today, and the aircraft does need to be refueled almost to maximum capacity. So I'll be starting the aircraft up from here, pushing it out to just in front of this fuel bowser. We'll be fueling up the aeroplane, then we'll be doing the rest of the checks, and then heading down to Jacinth. Now I don't want to do recreation flights, they're boring and long and full of Unicom. We'll continue to do events. So those Repaint flights are massively long, like 747s coming out of Japan and stuff. Anyhow, we have a small plane to open up and get moving. Let's jump on in. Okay, welcome aboard Delta Oscar Echo. We'll be dropping the flaps firstly. So the tie down is out, flaps coming down. And let's do the walk. Cool, flaps are looking good. Attached pretty well. Ailerons are good. The wing tanks, we won't do the fuel drain yet because we're going to just move the aircraft over to the fuel bowser. Prop looks okay and there's nothing hiding away inside the air vents. Oil's settling well. Chocks are away. Tie down is off. Pitot is secure. Stall vane test. Left wing, the light looks great. Down here we have an almost empty tank. Toilet and Aviator 997, I'll be seeing you on Friday. What time do you want to meet up? Drop a time. Or just Facebook it to me. And have you been COVID tested? Because I might go and get a COVID test to make sure that everything is happy. Because I live in the world, well, the country's hotspot for COVID right now. We have the most cases in my council. Great, eh? Hello, Lachlan. Alright, let's just chuck the door slightly close over. Don't need to lock it. We're essentially driving the aircraft. Gonna neutralize this though. Don't hold it up that far forward. Okay, gonna pull the mixture there. Master switch. Tanks are good. Mixture all the way forward. A little bit of throttle. Fuel pump. Push that up into the green. Pump off. Couple of shots of the primer. That should get us started. Before we do start, we might as well grab the ATIS and all that kind of stuff. So Coober Pedy.
Weather Information Service, Coober Pedy Airport, time 0703 Zulu, wind 010 degrees magnetic at 7 knots, visibility 25 kilometers, cloud clear below 10,000 feet, temperature 16, dew point 4, QNH 1020 hectopascals, rainfall last 10 minutes nil.
Rightio. I'm going to set the QNH now before we start up. Random. Okay, let's start her up. Brakes are back in. Thanks, toilet. We're on the Multicom 126.2. Traffic Coober Pedy, Delta Oscar Echo is a Piper Comanche. We're taxiing from the apron out to refueling and remain there for about 30 minutes. Brakes. Hello, Continuum. Just weeding out some trolls. Hopefully they do the easy thing and, like, you know, post. So I can ban them nice and quick. Coming up on the fuel. Ah, cool stuff. Yep. Be easy to go IFR and you'll get IFR time, so that's what we're here for, aren't we? Anyone want to grab that one as well? Thanks, toilet. Okay, park and brake is on and we'll chop the power. Turn the radiators off before you chop the power. And there you go. Why are we having so many deletion days now? I suspect it's got something to do with COVID. Everybody's stuck at home instead of going outside and, you know, stealing cars and going to the prison, which is what they'd normally be doing instead of hanging out on YouTube. We've got to turn our mains off. That can help. Strobes. Cool. Alrighty, refueling time. Step 1. Now there's a little thing in here called the static line. It's basically a piece of copper. You come out and attach it to the most metal part of the aircraft, preferably direct metal. Usually that'll be something like the, if you zoom in a little bit, you should be able to see a exhaust pipe. That one right there, cool. So with the static line attached to the exhaust pipe, that means the engine is grounded and we can throw some fuel in. Now to throw some fuel in, you'll need to swipe your card, put in your digits for your card, and it will start flowing the fuel. Let me come to the front of the wing to do that. So, let's fuel up the left. And we're going to be going 3 hours today, so we'll probably need the tip tanks for the extra, because we can't actually refuel at our first destination, which is Jacinth mine, because I only have jet fuel over there. So I won't need full tip tanks, but we'll give them about 3/4, 2/3. $5 a litre for avgas. Yeah. Cool. Now over to here. Alright, fill it up. Into the tip tank. That's at about 2/3. Looking good. Now because I've just put fuel in, we do need to do a fuel drain test to make sure that it's A, the right kind of fuel, and B, not water. Okay, with the hose all tied back up, you finish your card. It'll show you how much money you've just paid, and off we go. $25 a litre to ferry fuel? Yeah, sounds about right. At that point it's almost like, do we fly a plane in, or do you wait the 8 hours or something to drive out in the truck? Alright, fuel drain test. Fuel, glorious fuel. All of that is indeed fuel. All the way to the top. Now the fuel drain. All of it's fuel, no dirt, no water. Good stuff there. And the same for that. Everything's locked away, door is closed, and in we get. Close time. Cool. Alright, let's go and fly down to Jacinth Mine. This is a small mining site. I can't remember what they actually do. We'll do a little bit of research what they mine. It's something really weird to do with ceramics. Like, it's not a major, like, it's not gold or uranium or anything like that. Alright, let's talk about the flight plan itself. We're pretty much a straight line from Coober Pedy down to Jacinth Ambrosia. We're going to fly through 2 restricted areas. These are the Woomera test range restricted areas. We used to have a little town called Maralinga. It's an Aborigine kind of mission town out in this area. And back in the 1950s and 60s, the British were testing things out of Woomera. And some of the things that they were testing out here were nuclear weapons. So a little bit of radiation poisoning happened out in this part of the world. After the 50s, they started testing space program rockets, and then probably cruise missiles and that kind of stuff. They'd generally fire them out of Woomera, and the rockets would kind of land somewhere in these restricted zones. So anyway, that is the part of the world we'll be flying over soon. As we can see, I've just checked the restricted area. Romeo 246 Bravo, which is that one there, which we just nick, and then we go through 22 Hotel, showing the NOTAM, surface to unlimited, and it is deactivated green. We can fly there, which is good to know. We won't get shot at by any military weapons or what have you. Alright, let's start the aeroplane. Prime has been done. This will be a warm start. Pre-flight complete. Passengers briefed. Alright, we haven't been briefed. There's only one door in this aircraft. There's a big red lock that locks the door, and a handle right next to it there. To open the door, you will need to push the lock first, then use the door handle. That'll swing open, and you get out by standing on the wing. When you are standing on the wing, please move towards the tail of the aircraft, and we'll meet at the tail. Do not walk forward of the wing while the engine is running. Seatbelt's pretty simple. It's just a lap sash across your lap, and then we have one shoulder strap across your shoulder. If you have no questions, I will let you know that we'll be without access to a toilet for about 3 hours. So if you need to go or haven't been for an hour or two, tell me now, and the toilet's in the building behind you. There are no toilets on board the aeroplane, and getting access to Jacinth Ambrosia mine might be difficult. Assuming that is fine. Cool. Continuing on. Seatbelts, shoulders and harnesses are on. Flaps are up. Radios are off. Circuit breakers are in. Electrical switches are off. Autopilot is off, rotating beacon is in. Carburetor heat is off. And we have the inner tank selected for takeoff. Gear switch is down. Start the engine. Just get that fuel pressure into the green. Cool. That's alright, even if you were trying to advertise, you're advertising something interesting, drone services. Another aspect of aviation, a rather new one. Anyhow, we'll start the engine. No one's around. Clear prop. Cool. So let's just stick in a flight plan direct to our airport. That airport is Jacinth, Ambrosia, JAC. It's VFR, so it's just a direct line. Let's check our compass heading, showing 035. Just about right. Coober Pedy to the river and the road crossing. It's not actually a bridge. I know a road that crosses a river sounds like a bridge, but it's not a bridge. Fuel should be using about 2.1 plus another 2 gallon of fuel on this section. 18 miles. Heading 221 magnetic. Set. Alright, we'll head on out to the holding point. Traffic's Coober Pedy traffic. Delta Oscar Echo is a Papa Comanche. Will be taxiing out to runway via taxiway. We'll call ready to enter. So the wind was 010 at 7 knots. And we'll be using runway 04. Full backtrack. Let's go. Okay, I'll point our prop blast away from the fueling bowser. Don't want to ruin that. Kind of a little bit in. Here we go. So I'll do our run-ups here. Looking for about 1800 RPM. Good. Good switch. Good switch. And after the run-up checks. Full takeoff checklist, controls. Free and correct. Fuel selectors are on the main tanks. Fuel pump is on. Carbo heat is off. Mixture rich, prop is full forward. Engine gauges. Pressure's good. All temperatures in the green, pressure's in the green. Trim tab is set neutral-ish. There we go. Flaps are set and door is latched. Traffic Coober Pedy, Delta Oscar Echo is entering runway 04 to full backtrack. Cool, lights are in. Time 24, we should be airborne 26, 27. That clock's slow by a minute. Hello, aviation feeder. Not burned bad at all. Yeah, we'll try and maintain the runway centerline. She does pull off pretty well when you advance the throttle, so it'll tend to P factor out. Gyroscopic precession. Depends which way the wind is blowing. If I need a lot of right rudder, then I get to about 30 to 40% of my maximum right rudder input, then it just starts going nuts. No, I couldn't, because I'm not doing ATPL. If you're studying for ATPL, you should ask someone who has done it and didn't do a GFPT flight exam 13 years ago. Passed, but you know, that's stage 1. Zero 4. Ask me a bunch of random quiz questions out of your textbook starting in about 30 seconds while we're on the takeoff roll. That's usually the most appropriate time to ask questions like that. Try doing that with your instructor. Ask him a question while you're on the takeoff roll. See how that goes down. Quick hint, it'll go down very badly. Yeah, it is. Of course it is. It's asking the same questions as before. He's literally asking the exact same questions, but with different words. It's like he's got stuck on the textbook part about gyroscopic precession. Now he's asking all the questions about it. Anyway, we've checked our gyroscopic precession before we started entering the runway. Let's go. Traffic, Coober Pedy, Delta Oscar Echo is departing runway 04, left-hand downwind. Gear up. Why would I know physics questions, and why would I care? I'm playing a game on a computer. Traffic Coober Pedy, Delta Oscar Echo has entered downwind runway 04 on climb 2500 and tracking southwest. Gyroscopes process even non-aviation ones. We're talking about the space station, we're talking about literally a bike wheel on a string. They all do it for the same reason too. Anyway, I'm glad you found a new way to interact with the stream, Aviation Feeder. How did it feel making up a new YouTube account from scratch just so you could join? It appears that you are not over it and that you have not left. You're too desperate to get more of me. Isn't that weird? Anyway, thanks for your ad money. You have contributed 2 or 3 cents to my bank account. Okay, the time is 32. It'll be 41, maybe 40. We'll call it 40. See how it goes. Alrighty, we're going to reduce that RPM down to about 2400. Aviator 447 is actually just quoting probably out of his very recently learned IFR syllabus. Now he's actually serving up info for the benefit of Aviation Feeder, who seems to seemingly have gone silent. Isn't that weird? Man who created a sock puppet account just to come back and ask us silly questions that he already knows the answer to has been silenced. I've actually done ATPL. Good stuff. Deployed the CPL. Cool. You're a CPL before, weren't you? That makes sense. I know you did your IFR rating before we met, so I think you've been doing, what, twin engine, multi? Just didn't realise you got your frozen ATPL. What a time to do your ATPLs, right in the middle of COVID. Yeah, 997's alright. I'll be going flying with him for real on Friday. In a real plane. Okay, what, time 40? We're actually at full speed again, so I'll probably cross the river early. Start looking out for it in about 2 minutes. Manifold pressure 20. We should be at 8,005. Keep going up. We are going west after all. Alright, let's switch over to center 128.6. Don't need to talk to him. Just have a listen. Here we are, 8,500. Let's begin leveling off there. Past the river already. 40 for, was it Whirly? 44. 3 minutes. We're inside the restricted area now. When did remote loading start? I think it was 13, 14, 15, 16th of March, wasn't it? And they went on school holidays early and took it for longer. So about 45 minutes in. That's now that heading a bit better than we are.
From radio cast 58, report.
So what do you reckon? Outer tanks, get some of the fuel out of them, fly them empty.
Brisbane radio, contact 1580 position report. Contact 1580, Brisbane radio, go ahead. Contact 1580 past Velku at time 0744. Currently tracking to Starsrow, estimating Starsrow at time 0814, and then Cannon.
Current 44 and then 54.
Contact 1580.
Should see a lake at 54. Just passed into the restricted area. Closed restricted area, so we're all good there. Yeah, there's not much out here. They essentially chose this area as the restricted area on purpose because no one was really living out here. So it was a pretty simple matter of saying this area is now closed because the British Army is about to drop some bombs. And later after that, various agencies were firing rockets out in this area. All out of Woomera. Yeah, been long enough. Let's stabilize the heading. Check the heading, 220. That's spun around quite a bit. Indeed, that is a very interesting combination of control frequencies, UHF and 3G, 4G. Should be in the 800 megahertz kind of range. Maybe a little less than 800. Yep, we were indeed too fast on the climb out, brother. But we're not climbing out at the moment, we're at 8,500. And now we're just sticking here at what's that, 405 knots? I wish. 145 knots. And we're gonna check ourselves at the next lake at time 54, which is about 5 minutes away. If we pass by that dry lake bed at the right time, we know we're sitting roughly where we expect to be. I plan to be at 160 knots, we're at 163. So we might want to double check that, but we'll get our position fixed first. Once we can see it, then we'll know kind of what time we're crossing that location. This isn't an actual location, it's not a... we're out in the middle of nowhere, we're in the boondocks. They put waypoints here, there's no waypoints here, let's put it that way. There's nothing. You don't even get a VTC. It's just the low IFR route. Barely any detail, except for your you know, latitudes and longitudes. Anyway, we've expected a lake, and we expect the lake at time 54, all things being equal. And as he said, we were going faster on the climb out than the 120 that I wrote down. We're doing about 130, 135 at some points, so we might actually reach it a minute or two early. Apart from the fact we've got 3 knots extra wind that we didn't expect. We're expecting a, I think it was 11 knot. So 9. Oh no, it was 9. Cool. The forecast's about right. So we've got an extra 3 knots. So we might recalculate once we get our position fix. We keep on drifting off to the left because of my bad flying. I'll keep on correcting that over to the right. I clearly haven't given the 9 knots of crosswind enough angle there. But that's why we've drawn it on the GPS, because we're lazy. Time 54. Good, maybe. Hey, I've done that once before. Take off and going, we're going west. Wait a second, we're in Western Australia, that's east. I think we did it on this tour, didn't we? When I took off somewhere in Western Australia and I was like, we're going to head east. And it's like, no, that's the west coast, man. The west, not the east. The west. Is that a lake that I see? Should be a dry lake. There's another lake a little bit further on that looks like an axe. A-X-E-L-K. Now I use that just simply off Google Earth. I was looking at our track on Google Maps and I saw an axe-shaped lake. I don't know what it's called. I zoomed in and it didn't have a name. When I say lake, we're talking about stuff like this. In this part of Australia, a lake is a dry salt pan that once had water in it, but not currently. Okay, 225, is that? Here it is, 225. And it's drifted a little bit. Out there, I reckon. Nah, it's 223. Yeah, an axe-shaped lake, but that's a fair way off. Time 54. It's about now. I reckon that'll be the lake that I was looking at. There's the road, for certain. Yep, road has been spotted. We are 1 minute early. So let's do the next one for 163. 12 minutes out from 153. That'll be time 5. And of course, while I was looking at that, we have managed to drift off course, as usual. And we've managed to gain 300 feet without looking. Cool, let's go back down.
November system radio.
I think I'll just drop in the autopilot for a second. Give me a bit of a break. I do want to re-lean the engine again.
India Whiskey November, India Whiskey November, system radio.
You're guessing he didn't know. Unfortunately, the guy that... Fair enough. Cool, never mind. As I said, I'm not a pilot. I did a GFPT test in 2003, which I passed, and I never did any more. Aviator 997. Anyway, I don't pretend to be anything that I'm not. I'm not an airline pilot. I'm not a CPL, I'm not even a PPL.
India Whiskey November, 18, November, the ATC, 1 Unicom 122, Deskpins.
I'm just a dude playing a game flying around Australia. There you go. I wonder if Aviation Feed is actually a guy from Perth. I'm pretty sure that's the only person that I remember being like that. Although, I'm sure there are many, many people like that in the world. Aren't there, Nicholas? But to have that kind of hang on, you know, to follow you around the forums and Facebook, comment on Instagram, have to be banned literally everywhere you go. Are you Nicholas, Aviation Vita? Are you Mr. Nick F from Perth? I have a funny feeling you might be. In which case, I've got to say, that's like having a stalker. Okay, at 5 minutes we should be next to Lake Anthony, which is that big thing right ahead. Yeah, Nick F. Might not be, it's just someone with a very similar personality. Someone who thinks his job in the universe is to teach other people, when all he is an asshole. Ah, so you have been quarantined from the rest of Australia, like the rest of us. That's unfortunate that you're from Victoria. It means you live too close. I like Nick F because he's off in Perth and I know where he is. Safely very far away from me. No, I didn't. I should have, but I didn't. Instead, I was busy paying off a mortgage and not flying. Alright, I've got a bit of a discrepancy here. I'll just check if it's actually this thing here. It's at 21 and a bit. 22 and a bit. It's closer to 23. I'm starting to drift off a little. .212. Yes, I know I still can. And you know what? It's looking more and more like something that's potentially useful. But yeah. Yeah, that's right. I've seen the form and I know I actually qualify for a bunch of stuff on there. So I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I did fail my medical 1. I can get a medical 3. Sorted. RPL. Done. Just now need to throw money at flying a Jabiru or something silly like that. There's a working from home gig that I'm doing at the moment because we're all working from home. It's saving me money. I don't have to drive my car anywhere. Like, I filled up my car maybe 2.5 weeks ago and I've still got plenty of fuel in there. Won't be after I drive to Moorabbin and back, but yeah, like 1 full tank of fuel is lasting me 3 weeks at the moment. It's a bit insane. Almost to the point of going, do I really need this car? Do I really need to be paying rego on this thing? Yeah, I do, but you know, maybe. Yeah, RAUS hours don't count towards, you know, CPL and ATPL. I'm never going to be a CPL anyway, so the main reason that I'd be flying is for fun. So in those cases, those hours do count because they're fun. And really, really expensive. Dang it. But yeah, when your goal isn't actually to attain an ATPL or become an airline pilot or whatever, or even be a CPL flying, you know, out in this part of the world, there you go. The social skills of a seahorse. I love it. Seahorses are pretty cool. Their dads are pretty good dads. Carry their babies around all day. Anyhow, the time is 03. I had 05 position for my lake, which is just off there. When the lake is out that window, that is the time, and that time is in 2 minutes. And I think I'm starting to see the beginning of the lake. I actually deliberately made it a little bit later than the crossing time of the position of the lake because I wouldn't be able to see it. It would have been straight down, but I'm starting to see it now. And that's pretty true. And that's why we normally block these people early. It's just that we recognise the questions as being the exact same questions as when we were flying around on what was that? Denver to Salt Lake City. When we got taxied through the middle of by some impatient guy that was like, 20-minute wait for takeoff, let's just go power straight through. Then he started popping off all these random questions about gyroscopic precession and lapse rate. No, I'm not Jewish. I am in fact part Samoan, part Maori, as in New Zealand Maori. a little bit British and a little bit Yugoslav. That's a big of a mix, isn't it? Yes, I was indeed shown on Flight Sim Best. Not in the cockpit, but as the aircraft directly in front of the person that was sending the video. Anyway, the time is 6:05. I see a big chunky salt lake right outside the window that I expected to see it. I'm going to log that as correct. 5. Thank you, spreadsheet. The next one is time 1:06. And then 25 minutes after that one. Going to be massive. Yeah, a bit of a big bloke. Although a lot of that bigness is, you know, being fat. But if I exercised far more than I do, I'd probably turn some of that fat into muscle. And essentially weigh the same. And look like The Rock. With more hair. Yeah, I'm part Yugoslav. My mother's mother was Yugoslav because my mother's father, my grandfather, was in the Maori Battalion, and the Maori Battalion fought in World War II, and they fought the Italian campaign. They fought their way all the way up the peninsula. Out of they actually started in Britain, went down into I think it was Libya, fought in Egypt for a little while, back into Libya, and then up the Italian peninsula, and they ended up pretty much right on the border of Yugoslavia and Italy, like during the end of the war, and that's where Granddad found Grandma in the end of World War II. At least that's the story as I understand it. Might be some differences here and there, but yeah. Yugoslav grandma and a Maori granddad. Like sure. As you can see, by the end of World War II, there was no difference between Serbia and Croatian. I know there was, but you know, the nation is one big unhappy family. Pops out calculator for hard head maths because I don't math. There we go. Head math done. You have to do 16. Yeah, I'll wait for that. What's 16? Ah, the axle-lake is at 16. So still good. 8 minutes away from there. Gotta check that compass again, showing 226, 227. Which is right. Good stuff. Much easier not hand flying the plane. That speed is pretty much solid at 163. Quite happy with that. GPS reckons we'll get there at time 35. Time 10 now. And let's start briefing our arrival. Jacinth, Ambrosia mine. You need to have prior permission to land at this airport, I do believe. Yep, PPR from AD Manager. I don't know, actually. Good question. I'll research that for you, Lachlan. I feel like it's more like a 750 than a 650, but I'm not sure if it's more like a 750 or a 530. So that's the big difference. If there's a touchscreen, it's a 750 analog, and if it's not a touchscreen, then it's more like a 530. Yeah, it's not a GNS or GSX, it's like a... Is it even a Garmin? I don't think it is. Weird. Yeah, it does tend to go silent when you ask him a question he doesn't know. He's probably looking up, searching through his ATPL book, going to the index page, or he's just ignoring you and deciding, what weird question can I ask Musical of Aviator now? And ignore Aviator 997 because he's too on the ball. Our ATPL theory teacher, Aviator 997, like a real actual one, flight instructor Arjun, but he's now an airline pilot that's furloughed, so oh well, stuff happens. Dynan, might be, I'll just double check it. I can probably look it up in the registration details of aircraft online. No, it's not a Dynan. Just checking a Dynan. Do they have a Dynan which is kind of that shape? Because this is a GTN 750 in this aircraft right here. So that's what a 750 looks like. And they're smart little units. I do like them. One thing that I do find with the GTN series of aircraft, when I flew with Arjun on the Jose Ortega mic, is it's really hard to use the touchscreen when you're in the air, because any little bit of turbulence and you're going to be essentially doing this every time. You get into that mode, because your finger slips. It's like, I'm going to press this button, and you actually end up doing a strike up motion like that, and it pulls it up into the pan mode on the map, so you have to hit the back button again. It's consistently pressing the back button all the time, trying to get back to the normal map mode, because you've accidentally done that. The kind of aircraft that my friend Arjun flies right now is being furloughed, but when he's being employed, his most recent type rating, I guess you call it, would be the Dash 8 Q300 and 200. So the Dash 8, the older analog versions. He was a captain on those.
Station calling Brisbane Radio.
He chose the Dash 8 200 300 series. He could have gone for the 400 as captain, but he actually went for the 300 200 on purpose because he wanted to fly to Lord Howe Island. That was his goal in life. And he flew to Lord Howe Island a couple of times in February. So at least he got to do the thing that he intended to do. His philosophy is he wants to fly the oldest aircraft that he can in the fleet at Qantas, because if he flies the oldest ones, that means he'll cycle through more aircraft types. And he essentially wants to fly as many aircraft types as he can. So he went from Dash 8 Q400, instead of taking the captaincy on the 400, he went to captaincy on the 300 and 200. And he was about to move over into international operations in March, before COVID happened. And he wouldn't have had a choice as to which aircraft he got it, but he was hoping it'd be put on the A330, because that would have been a better choice for him than the 787. Because 787s are going to be around forever, whereas the A330 is more likely to be retired early, so he wanted to have a go at that before they retired it. So it's a bit like, you know, that kind of thing. Wants to try as many things as possible before they go out of fashion. Cross between touchscreen and analog, yeah, I've seen a few of those. Don't know what kind of thing it is, but it's probably not a Garmin anything. That said, Garmin do have a lot of products out there that are very, very odd. You get really weird things every once in a while. It's like, is that a Garmin product? Yeah, so it is. It's got a touch screen, it's got weird buttons everywhere. Get a little rotating knob on it. What is it? Well, that's a Garmin G500. G500. What? Just coming out of that restricted zone into the other one. Time 15, we're going to cross that time 16 axe lake. Where's the axe? Not very axe looking. I think that's it though, it should be in that position. On Google Maps it looked like a distinctive, like either axe shape or maybe shaped like the North Island of New Zealand, that kind of thing. You know, kind of like a protrusion at the front and a handle at the back. If this was a little bit further forward, like a bit more pointy, yeah, but there you go. That's Axe Lake right there. Oh, sharks. Just don't swim and you won't see any sharks. Easy. That's right, Aviad 997 loves going swimming in all random places. Yeah, not a big fan of sharks myself. No, there's an easy way to avoid sharks, and that's don't go into the sea. 230, yep, that's keeping up pretty well. Look at that. That gyroscope is maintaining much better than I expected it to, actually. Time 35 will descend at 500 feet per minute. Time 41 is when we arrive according to that. 35 according to that. What's the discrepancy there? We are going to slow down anyway. Report time 40.
Going to 64 Delta Brisbane Radio. Brisbane accept primary guard 128.6, secondary 122.1. Stand by.
So Jacinth, Ambrosia, CTAF on 126.7. There it is. Good stuff, Spencer. That's the way to do it. Good old VTC. Love him.
Going to 264 Delta. Did you receive the self-call message?
Next.
How did the pandemic start? I've got no idea, but I'm over it and I wish it would go away. Clearly something happened in Wuhan. Something very strange. We may never know. Because the CCP, as they like to call it up there in China, China Communist Party, Even if they did know, and I doubt that they do because they are pretty incompetent, even if they did know, they're not going to tell anyone. Why do I call the CCP incompetent? Have a look how their aviation is run. They don't let you deviate off track for pretty much anything because why would they? Good stuff, Aviator. Good stuff indeed. Yeah, no, it's not going away. It's getting worse here in Victoria. Victoria's worst hotspot for COVID-19 is right where I am right now. The Hume Shire. Worst in Australia. Hume represent. So how does it feel living in the worst COVID infected location in Australia? Boring, that's how it feels. Maybe I should go and get a COVID test so I can show Aviator that I don't have COVID when I go and visit him. Should get a mask because I haven't been outside essentially enough. I haven't even bought a mask. Haven't been to anything except to the shop to buy food. Or to the service station to buy fuel. Once I went to the doctor's. Yeah, barely been outside since March. Yeah, COVID test isn't that nice. Great to hear. Someone that I know went and got a COVID test this afternoon, so I'll have to ask them what it's like. I can probably hear in my voice I've got a little bit of a phlegm thing going on, so. I know we're VFR, but flight plan, how high is this airplane? 419. Yeah, that's fine. We'll do 500 feet a minute. 12 minutes to descent. Yes, rather unpleasant. Cool. $33 miles. Let's take out our autopilot and head on down. Drop a little bit of power, add a little bit of mixture. Stay straight so you don't fly off to the side. All the way down to 15. I love these autopilots. They can't do a descent. If you want to descend, you just need to turn that axis of the autopilot off. Yay. Oh, I gotta love cat conversations. I have a stray that lives outside my neighbour's yard. And it's a stray, it's not the neighbour's cat. They don't own it. Yeah, that's right. These funny autopilots are a little bit useless for anything other than flying straight and level for hours. Anyhow, we're going to have to go onto the main tanks because we're not allowed to land using the outer tanks. Autopilot off, fuel pumps on. Selectors on the desired tank, fuel levels check. Yep. Message coming up. Checklist complete. $10 out. Traffic, Jacinth, Ambrosia. Delta Oscar Echo is a Piper Comanche at 4,500 on descent. We'll be positioning to enter circuit, runway 14. Traffic Ambrosia. And estimate circuit time 3.5. Almost forgot to chuck the estimate in there. Been descending a little too quick. Yeah. Trim right away on the older part. That sucks. That wouldn't be on this one though, because this one, well, it deflects the tab, but that's not the actual whole trim system on the Piper. Pipers are weird, because the entire elevator moves up and down. It's not a stabilizer on an elevator. So, was it? Stabilator. That's the right word. Stabilator. Okay, we're gonna into if we stay to the well left of track, we should be able to join straight into a downwind. $400, so I'll leave 1,400 to join downwind. $18 miles out, we descended a bit too quick. That's alright, we can relax our speed, reposition happily. Yeah, most military aircraft have it, the Pipers have it, and I think the L-1011 by memory as well. But yeah, it's pretty rare. Not many aircraft have a complete stabilator, entire moving tail. That trim tab becomes really powerful with that, all of that thing moving. 2,500. Just need to lose 1,000 feet in the next 10 miles. I can see the mine. Now that's the mine itself, not the airfield. Me, am I doing it tomorrow? I'm working tomorrow until 3. And I was going to continue this flight down to the shoreline, but if you're inviting me to come to Moorabbin or Essendon, or telling me to go and do something, then I'll happily change my plans. Can't get out before 3 though. Exactly 3 o'clock is when I finish work. And I'm working at home. Great. Just knocked the prop pitch, prop RPM. Six o'clock tomorrow. Looks like our plans might have changed. What in? And do I need to pay lots of money for it? I like how that's the order of importance. When, what in, and how much. Cool, we're coming pretty much directly across the runway, which is the centre line that you can see dotted there, and I'll be joining a direct entry on the downwind, straight into a massive right hand turn. Jacinth, Ambrosia, Delta Oscar Echo at 7 miles, 2,500, on descent to join downwind, runway 14. Traffic Ambrosia. So we're going halves, or is it free? Is it a twin engine aeroplane or a single? Eh, $100 sounds good to me. Going halves is always nice, but going less than halves is nicer. There's our big mine, which we've got to research about and tell you what it's all about. But apparently they mine some component that goes into ceramics, so ceramic tiles, that kind of stuff, here at Ambrosia. The party bus. Good stuff. Alright, we're turning in, straight up the runway. I do want to kind of avoid going directly over the mine in case they have explosives, which I probably do. I can see the airfield beyond it. Right there. In a hole. Darn it. We may need to fly over this one, but we'll see. I should have checked it before we came here. All of those V2 airports that aren't necessarily compatible. Traffic Ambrosia, Jacinth, Delta Oscar Echo is downwind of runway 14. Power coming up. Prop coming up, sorry. Okay, landing gear coming down once we can. A bit far out. Cool, now to get down. Green light. Landing checklist. Brakes are released, undercarriage is down. Mixture fully rich, prop is fully forward, pump is on. Instrument is set, seats and houses are secure. Let's land in their hole. Yeah, 6 o'clock. So meeting up at 5. Yeah, I can do that. That's doable. I'll leave the house at about 3:30. Won't have any camera equipment. Oh, maybe I will. I'll charge it up overnight. Oh, that's a kind of a dirty approach. I'll stick with it though. Traffic Jacinth Ambrosia, Delta Oscar Echo is base, runway 14. Power's coming off. Neil Armstrong, good stuff. He's probably studying for his CPL or ATPL or something like that, given he's all over the books. Look at this beautiful hole that we're going to land in. At least the runway looks to be intact, so we'll continue through. Flared a bit late and hard. Yeah, it's alright. Clearly the airport's not meant to be in a hole, but here we are. Love the AE2 scenery. Problem is, yeah, you get these weird scenery conflicts with the older sceneries. We'll do a midfield turnaround. Traffic Jacinth Ambrosia, Delta Oscar Echo is backtracking runway 14. Yep, 112. The flare was a bit off, but then again I was looking at getting distracted by these massive canyon walls around the airfield. Obviously the actual airfield elevation should be probably a little bit higher, but it was designed for the V1 version of OZX or FTX, and so down this hole we are. To fix this I'd probably go into what's it called, ADE, and adjust the level of the airfield to the same level as the surrounding ground, and then put a flatten layer over the whole thing. Indeed. Delta Oscar Echo has now gone inside the hole. I'm assuming we're going back to the right place. Yeah, we are. I love how some of the buildings are on top of the hill, some of them bottom. And by the looks of some of the textures over there, some of the buildings are halfway between the top and the bottom. Yeah, apparently we are inside the mine. Or it did say we're flying to a mine site, so here we are. So vacated. Is that a helipad? It is a helipad. Interesting. Well, not much to see here. We've got some big tanks. Non-potable water. Intriguing. You can't drink that. Yes, we are in an underground airfield now. Look at that. What a pity. Would have been nice to see a nice flat airport, but there we are. Alright, we don't need to stay here for much longer. We can't actually refuel at this airfield, so let's go. Let's put up the next bit, which will be the Nullarbor Motel. Nub. Y-N-U-B. And after that we're going to Ceduna, which is an ICO code that I couldn't remember. CDU. Do a burnout at the airfield. Can do. Anyway, Nullarbor Hotel. We're not actually going to land at Nullarbor Motel because there's no airfield there at all. There is in the real world, but there isn't in the sim. Believe me, I checked. Edible maps. Good stuff. Okay, just to check of our fuel state, we have 15, about 20 gallons, maybe even 22 gallons in each tank, and down auxiliaries are about 1/3. Cool. So I'm going to move over to my second flight plan, which is Jacinth mine down to Ceduna. First waypoint is 6 minutes out, which is a bend in the river. Probably a dry riverbed. After that the old highway, and then Nub. Off we go. $800 a tyre. Yuck. Traffic Jacinth Ambrosia, Delta Oscar Echo entering runway 14. Departure left crosswind. I got my left and right mixed up. Let's say right crosswind for that one, thanks. Extra rich, everything's ready. Let's double check the flaps are up. They are. Pumps are on, landing lights are in. We haven't even shut it down, so we'll consider this the same flight. Pre-flight's not required, let's go. Yes, that was lazy. And yes, it just saved us a bunch of time. Up we go. Gear up. See you, toilet. Have a good one. Spray painted on with a can. Yeah, they were a bit low res taxi lines are there. So anyway, the township of Maralinga, which is probably behind us by now. Basically a lot of Aborigines were living at Maralinga, and they got possibly nuclearified by radioactive dust coming out of Woomera. It's a big story about that the other day that I saw. Okay, time is 47, heading 123. $240. Yeah, I moved it. There you go, 250. $50, 52. Follow you on flight radar. Great. Smart enough to know what flight radar is, not smart enough to figure out that writing something isn't magic. Clearly not a memer. I would reply something like, if I was part of the New World Order, I wouldn't have to listen to you. I would have you eliminated. Keep talking. I will send someone to eliminate you now. Two minutes out from bend in the river. We're not even going to get... Oh, there it is. That's the river. Ah, that was one of those waypoints that's directly over the waypoint that I'm trying to see. It's not going to happen. There's the bend right there. That one. There's the road that we're meant to be following. Get back on track properly. Cool, 8,500 is what we filed. Yep. Gonna call that the position. Time 52. Time 52. Go ahead and establish our outbound properly. About there. Going to take the heading. Going to re-establish that altitude properly before we give it to autopilot. Then we're going to do some light math. You know what? I'm lazy enough. Let's do it that way. Cool. Seven. Okay, 7 minutes past. We should be at the old highway. – 6,000 metres on a hill in Australia. I mean, that's higher than Australia's biggest hill, Mount Kosciuszko. Yeah, Mount Kosciuszko, 2,200 meters. Man, Australia's hills are a bit, yeah. 7,300 feet is our tallest hill in Australia. Fuel. Starts off. Just trying to grab that after takeoff again. No, looking all good. Still leaning. Let's see what EGT peaks at. There's EGT. A little bit rich. Good. It's probably not enough. Yeah, we'll bring it back all the way down to the 14. Cool. Time 10 minutes away. 9 minutes away. So I should see, I think it's still a dirt road, the old air highway, A-E-Y-R-E highway. We're about to find the coastline of South Australia. The location we're about to go overhead is the Nullarbor Highway, the Nullarbor Motel, which is on the eastern end of the Nullarbor Plain Highway, Air Highway it's called, E-Y-R-E Highway. This position will be right next to what they call the Bunda Cliffs, and the Bunda Cliffs are the longest set of uninterrupted cliffs between the sea and the land, not just in Australia but in the world. Very intriguing part of the world this. If you drive the Nullarbor Plain, most people, this is where the Nullarbor Plain starts. So that's what we're looking at, Bunda Cliffs. And those cliffs continue pretty much uninterrupted. Flat land, straight out into the sea. They continue from this location all the way through to Eucla in Western Australia. Great Australian Bight. Have our first sea sighting of the sea since we left, what was it, down south of Western Australia, Albany. So we haven't seen the sea since Albany back in a month and a half ago. Yeah, it was the week before last milk run, or was it the week before the milk run before that? Was it 2 months or 1 month? I'll just check. Can't remember the time that we were there. Calendar. Where were we last month? Yeah, that one. So the last time we saw the ocean from the cockpit of an aeroplane in this round the world tour, round Australia tour, I think it was the 22nd, yeah, 22nd of May, so 1 month ago. And there we are, the Southern Ocean. So I don't have it on the GPS, but what's going to happen is we're going to fly over the Nullarbor Motel, make a left-hand turn directly south, and then we'll follow the cliff line along until we rejoin up on the GPS track outbound. Kind of contour fly the coastline a little bit. We do need to go to an odd altitude during that turn, so we'll come down to 7,500. Who's still on? I see Lachlan has gotten his repaint. Lachlan's purchased the air-to-air Cessna 172, and he's had one of the guys on us on the channel here create a livery for him. Interesting. The A2A Cessna 172 becomes worth it if you fly a real Cessna 172. Before that, probably not. But once you understand the ways of the 172 and become a fanboy, and I think you can only ever do that by sitting in one in the front two seats while it flies. Once you've experienced that, you'll go, yeah, it's worth it. Yeah. But before that, it's essentially just a slow plane. Like any other slow plane. I always make the funny joke that when I went off and did my GPT back in 2003, real flying made me a better simulator pilot. Better. Cool. Good old El Owl. We'll see. We will see. Downside with this whole thing of going to visit the Bunda Cliffs is we'll revisit this location once again on this flight, so mark that beach. Just a few minutes we'll be coming back along that beach. I don't see the old highway. There's the new highway. I think the old highway's not in the simulator. Dang. The old highway was an old dirt road that was never really finished before they built the new highway. Ah, 7-8. Cool. Anyhow, there's the air highway that will bring us and the people on it. There we go, look at that. Complete with runways and everything. That's the motel. And the little airstrip next to it. I spawned up and it didn't show the... Anyhow, little dirt strip. We're not going to land on it, but if we were going to land on it, runway 10, 0 forward with a runway to land on, I think. That one there. The Nullarbor Motel. Look at this, they actually have avgas on sale. Good stuff. Wondering what scenery that is. Is that OZX or is it FTX? Look at this stuff there. Alright, we've got Rossi and we've got Aaron. Do we want to land at this airfield or not? Because we probably can. I didn't even know it was there in the sim. I actually searched for it in my scenery files and just nothing came up. I think we might. How far we've... yeah... It's a bit late to get in straight, but we might go to the cliffs first and come back. Traffic Nullarbor Motel Delta Oscar Echo is a Piper Comanche at 8,500. We'll be flying overhead the field on descent to 5,500, tracking southbound to Bunda Cliffs and then returning. Delta Oscar. Rossi says no, he does not want to go to the Nullarbor Hotel. He'll glide it. Go all the way in. Bit of side slip action like that. That's not the stall buzzer, by the way, that's just the thing telling me that my engine has been reduced down with the gear up. It's not happy. Wait a second, there's the old and the new highways. They both come together like that. Parts of the old air highway are still used for traffic and parts of it aren't, so it's not a continuous highway anymore. The new air highway obviously is. Traffic Nullarbor Motel. Delta Oscar Echo is descending out of 5,000 feet. We'll be joining circuit runway 28. Traffic Nullarbor. Might go in runway 10 downwind. That'll give us a bit more room actually. 10 downwind. We won't even need to descend like the clappers. You know what'll be an easy way to get rid of that warning horn will be just to lower the landing gear at 4,000 feet, gear down. Gear down. What is the wind doing down here? Oh, I had it in that thing. .260 at 16. Okay. 2.8 it is. Control plus E. That'll get you there. You've probably got the fuel shut-off valve still open. Well, we lost all that height. What do you reckon? Over the field and back around, or straight in? Straight in would be the irresponsible thing to do. Rossi's asked for Australian. Traffic Nullarbor Motel, Delta Oscar Echo is on a short right base, runway 28. I've got 2 straight in requests. Straight in it is. Straight in over the air highway with the roadhouse just straight ahead there. Yeah, landing gear. Okay then. Brakes are down, good and clear. Gear down. Mixture fully rich, prop is fully forward, pump is on. Lights are in. Seats and harness are secure. A little bit of an overshoot there. That runway doesn't look straight. Bit of rudder. Two digits, 85. Gear up. Flaps up, but not say gear. Emus. I hate how Americans say emu. It's an emu. Come on. Emu. It's not a cow. It's not an electrical eye cow. Aviation, not particularly. He's getting less and less more of a fan base as this stuff drags on. He's a bit of a funny troll at times. Thanks, Rossi. Deleting the political. Another one. Aviator 997's going at it. Rossi got him. Oh my gosh. Everyone's piling on to poor old Aviation Feeder. I mean, yeah, he is annoying, but still. We could even pick up more fuel out here if we wanted to. But we've planned without needing to, so we won't. There's a Bowser. Is that a collider? It is. Okay. Gliding the Bunda cliffs, I can see the appeal to that. Random green bus. Cool. Alright, let's go and visit the cliffs. One thing I need to do is check our heading again. 080 I think. 075. Cool, we're going to go directly south. And we'll re-pick up the flight plan again at the cliff. Wherever that is. XX. Let's taxi out. Runway 28. Traffic nullable motel, Delta Oscar Echo, taxis to runway 28. We'll be backtracking through runway 22. Traffic nullable. Go out and visit the emus again. The difference in pronunciation emu to emu is very small. But you essentially pronounce the entire letter U and don't say moo. We had 997, the Great Emu War of the 1920s. That's a Western Australia story. That's not the rest of Australia story. Out in the plains. Out near Cunderdin, actually. Farmers were having issues with emus stampeding all around the place, scaring livestock, eating wheat, digging up crops. So they hired the army to come and cull some emus. They spent several $1,000s and hundreds of thousands of rounds of bullets from a machine gun shooting at emus, which tended to scatter all over the place and be hard to catch, and not many emus were killed. Well, there's still lots of emus, so I don't think they lost that war. Let's put it that way. Alright, our outbound heading from the cliff, from the beach, sorry. The big turn, 100 degrees. Right there, cool. And we're heading southbound. Currently the heading 255, 256. Wait. Cool. Is that really it? 70, 60, 55. Ah no, opposite direction. Darn it. West 70, 80, 85. Thought it looked a bit weird. $70, $80, $85, about there. Traffic nullable, Delta Oscar Echo, runway 28, parting, left hand crosswind. It's got one wheel kind of caught on something there. And positive right gear up. Prop RPM coming back to about 24, maybe even 23 and a half. Traffic nullable, Delta Oscar Echo is tracking to Bunda Cliffs. We'll be doing operations at Bunda Cliffs at 3,500. Ah, gotta love a bit of interception. Is that their PC6s or something else? Ah, firebombers, nice. Cessna 208 caravans. Yeah. Nah. Being accepted by something like a PC-6 or a, I don't know, Hawk. That'd be interesting. Bunda Cliffs. A massive line of sheer cliffs all the way from here to Western Australia and beyond. Turn it around so we don't end up too far offshore. Cliffs. Gotta love them. One of these days I'll see that place for real. Don't mind which side, this side or that side. Anyway, back. Mum called. I'm hand flying right now. There's no autopilot on. I know it looks on, but that's ready. Whereas altitude hold would be. I need to have an autopilot on in the first place. That. So that's altitude hold, but we're actually flying hands at the moment. So if I did that, this would happen. Look at that. Let's rock our wings. Yoo-hoo. The good old Bunda cliffs. There's a good lookout right about there. There's a few good lookouts around here. The Nullarbor Plain Road, so the air highway, is somewhat inland. But you get a lot of dirt tracks coming down to the shoreline. Yeah, Mum's right. She just heard that panic buying might be starting in Victoria again, so buy your toilet paper. Hi there, Brody. Not too bad. Yeah, where's Lookout? Lookout is where the ground changes colour. Yes, there it is, right there. Spotted. And need to be at odd levels. I think we'll come up to about 5,500, maybe even 7.5. Gonna ride out of the cliffs soon. That's a lookout right there, which is the end of the Bunda cliffs, and after that we end up with a far more saner taper into the water, beaches and stuff. I'm going to take up the heading. Start the climb as well. Heading 099. Full power. Start the fire. Yeah, good thing about this autopilot is that you actually can't climb and descend using the autopilot. It doesn't have that mode. You can maintain an altitude and that's it. Time 41. I reckon we'll be feet dry at time 46. That beach right about there. That section of the beach. Yeah, if we had an engine failure, we'd just turn straight onto the beach and land on it. Good thing about beaches out in this part of the world, there's not many people on them. So as long as it's something like low tide, or the tide's going out, we'll probably find something that's suitable to land on. Bit of brackish vegetation just behind the beach. And as you go further inland, you end up with that kind of dry dirt. once we're at an altitude, we might consider putting the autopilot back on, because, you know, it's a bit boring flying straight ahead. Every time that you look down, you put your head back up and you're off course and descending, climbing. It's a workload saver. Random fact of the day. 24 years ago, on the 23rd of June, sorry. What month is it again? June. The Nintendo 64 is released for the first time. Okay. Lots of land between here and Adelaide. Lots of tiny little itty bitty towns. The first of the big towns that we go past, which will be at time we're at time 46 now. Should be over the beach. I believe we are. We are feet dry. At 14. Double O. Cool. On the hour. Wonder if it's in this thing. So there's a little township that's an Aboriginal incorporated town called Yalata, and it is the last proper township between essentially itself and Western Australia. Just a little bit off the main highway, a little bit inland of the main highway, the town of Yalata. I believe you need all the usual Aboriginal kind of corporation stuff there to get in. But they do have a roadhouse, which is a little bit south of the town. Anybody can go there. There's also a caravan park for tourists. There's 7005, that's where we want to be. Gonna bring in the autopilot. Gonna trim her out. And gonna pop it in. Cool. Auto parts on. Just monitor it for a little while. It does want to turn offshore. Alright, so Yalata is a Anungu town, so the Aboriginal tribe of Anungu people. They used to live essentially in all of that Woomera testing range area, and they were forcibly removed down to Yalata in 1952 because of the, you know, nuclear bombs that were going to go off. So a lot of the people that live at Yalata have history with, you know, cancer. Let's put it that way. There is some suggestion that maybe, like, they were originally moved to a town called, I think it's Ulula, something like that. And then they moved again from Ulula even further south into Yalata. And the reason is because testing found that Ulula wasn't quite far enough away from the nuclear tests to be free of radiation. So a lot of the people down there, you know, essentially got exploded by hydrogen bombs and then moved to a little town. Back before 1952, the Anungu Aboriginal people were essentially free to roam about throughout that entire area, and they did, all the way between Uluru, essentially south of Uluru down to the Great Australian Bight. That was where they lived, and now they spread it like into their smaller towns such as Fregon and Yalata. So that's the first town that we encounter on our way to the east. There is the road. And there's the highway, and there's their town. And I think we even see their airfield up there. Yep, that's the Yalata airfield. There is indeed a runway there. And it is paved, it's not a dirt runway, it's a nice paved runway. It's actually a better runway than the one at the motel. But there's the town of Yalata. Time 51. Let's see if I can grab that on the Ursa. And the answer to that question is no, because it is actually not a licensed aerodrome, even though it's bigger than the licensed aerodrome and got a nice solid runway. It's not a licensed landing area. Good stuff, Aviator. That's when you mic drop them and tell everybody that you're a teetotaler and you don't drink. But yeah, that's the township of Yalata. It's got a big chunky asphalt covered runway that's nice and smooth, and I think it's 1,800 meters long. It's not in the URSA because it's not a licensed aerodrome, and you need permission to go into the town and all of that. That rigmarole, I'll pop it in on Google Earth. There we go. So Yalata, that's the airfield. See, there's a wonderful asphalt runway with no markings on it. It's actually got more tarmac down on the ground at the airfield than they do in the town, which is all this dirt road stuff here. There's a football field, which is essentially dirt, and then you got this little runway out here. Runway, no numbers, no centerline marking, no taxiway marking, and yeah, so they're about 1,500 meters long. The township of Yalata. Next up, Coober. Time on our NUNRO. Nunero. So the next one is actually Nundroo, Nundroo. Kirby after that, and then Fowler's Bay. So Nundroo is a sheep station established in the 1860s. Currently runs a hotel and motel and a roadhouse. Been flying along enough, so let's see, 112, 113. Out there, I'd say. Coober, 675 miles, kilometres to the northwest of Adelaide. Managed by the Outback Communities Authority. Coober has a population of 51. Apparently at Coober Pedy there's a helicopter landing pad which helps service a oil exploration in the Great Australian Bight. Time 26, so I'll be landing at about, well, I should be well and truly on the ground at 8:30 PM Melbourne time. So about half an hour out. 84 miles. On the hour, pretty much there. There's Nundaroo. That's the sheep station right there. That green stuff. Oh, that's a good one, Aviator. That's brilliant. Yes, that would be rather distracting. Helps to be actually in the pilot seat as well. I think I've heard of that one. Someone talking about that one in the past. Someone at World Flight was telling me about that one. Anyhow, Fowler's Bay. And then about halfway through Fowler's Bay, the closest approach we make to the sea, there's a little Aboriginal community called Scott's Deco. Scott Deco, that's one. And Scott Deco is famous, or infamous, if you want to put it that way, for having run out of water in November. I'll see if I can find, there it is. Remote Aboriginal community of Scott's Deco received short-term water supply because their water reserves have completely run dry as of November 2019. That's their water reservoir. Dry as dry could be. Don't know how they're going now during COVID. Can't imagine it'd be that easy having a township where there's no water. Maybe they need a desalination plant, but it's a bit hard to fund a desalination plant when you have a population of 80. We're starting to come towards a little bit more fertile area, so you can see just to our north is almost desert. But over on our right wing, that there is some wheat growing. Yes, that is a salt lake next to the wheat, but you know, we're just on the edge of civilization here. And just further away from Scott's Deco is the little township of Penong, P-E-N-O-N-G, which also happens to be right next to a fairly large salt mine. Back in 2013, Penong was a location that was having its analog television shut down and replaced with satellite TV. So they're getting a subsidy from the government to install install satellite. So I was dispatching technicians out as far as Penong. Penong was as far as we went, because Scott's Deco Aborigine community was an Aborigine community, and our normal technicians couldn't go out to those locations because you're not allowed to do that. You need all kinds of working with Aborigine permits. Not allowed to bring alcohol, all that stuff. Hi there, Aussie. We just passed the little township of Yalata. You might have been here for that. Coming up on Fowler's Bay. And in kind of the indent of Fowler's Bay is this little Aborigine township called Scott Deco, which ran out of water in November. Their water supply has dried up. So they're literally having trucks drive water out to their town. So the Fowler's Bay Township, right down there, end of that road, currently has a population of 51. There was a time when it was considered a fairly active port town with a lot of farming. Produce going straight out to ship. These days they take it out by rail. Or truck. Now here's a funny little bit of information. 1627, Francis Thyssen was captaining the ship the Golden Zeppart, or the Golden Seahorse. Funny, seahorse. The personality of a seahorse. Anyway, Francis Thyssen was on the Golden Seahorse, a Dutch ship, and he popped into Fowler's Bay. Way back then, 16. He was trying to get from the Cape of Good Hope to Jakarta. Looks like he missed. Pretty badly missed. Most of the other guys that missed ended up in Western Australia. I know I'm a bit laissez-faire with my navigation, but yeah, missing missing Indonesia and finding South Australia instead is a bit of a miss. Yes, gear up landing in an RG is not a good idea. Most of the procedures on these aircraft tend to be gear down first, like you get your gear down on the downwind and then you worry about flaps after that. kind of a bit backwards with your Boeings and your Airbuses. You tend to put at least 1 or 2 stages of flaps out first and then drop the gear. That said, the Russian airliners tend to put the gear down first as well. The Tupolev 154, I remember the procedure for that was even if you put 1 stage of flap out with the gear up, gear horn goes off. You can't get rid of a gear horn until the gear is either down or the flaps are back up again. Should be at Scott's Deco right about here. I think it's inland a little. There's the highway. There's a road off the highway. Should be road back on the highway somewhere. Ah, back there. Cool. I reckon that's Scott's Deco right there. Same. I agree. That's what rudders are for. And ailerons and banking. True. Procedures don't work if you don't do them. Pretty much. Stick to the rule book. You don't need to know why, you just need to know that the rule book was there. There was a good reason for it. And unless you have a really good reason, like it broke, then stick to it. I love the sharpness between the fields here, which are partially irrigated sometimes, and essentially the desert over there. On Google Earth it's not quite as sharp, but it's still pretty dang sharp. So here we have all of these cultivated fields, which are broken up into what they call hundreds. So each 100 of such and such place is 100, I think it's hectares. So you get 100 hectares, all subdivided up into fields that can then be purchased. Then you've got the highway running through, and to the north of the highway is nothing. Sand dunes, literally sand dunes up there. Then down here we have these subdivided farm lots. So you can buy 100 acres of farmland and do whatever you want with it. A lot of them plant wheat, a lot of them run sheep. It seems to be wheat, sheep, wheat, sheep, wheat, sheep, the odd cow here and there. A couple of unclaimed hundreds over here. That's a pretty well demarcated 100 lot. Nothing but trees in it. And of course down on the coastline they run out. The subdivision was insane. Back in, I think in 2012, 2013, they actually changed their addressing system for this whole area. In the old days it used to be they would mark out 100 hectare lot and they'd subdivide it in 2. And so you'd end up with 101 of Bookerby, 102 of Bookerby, and then it'd split 2 in half. So 2 would become 2 and 3. And then they'd split 3 in half, and 3 would become 3 and 4. And then they'd split 1 in half, and it'd become 1 and 5. You can see where the problem starts here. So now you have 1, 5, 4, 1, 5, 2, 3, 4. And it just gets ridiculous after that. We've got cloud, let's get down below that. I'm going to have to turn around. missed that. We were talking about hundreds. Don't need to do the full 180, go right that way. Yeah, need to go a bit more. I think we'll take coastal rather than inland, so we'll continue that all the way through. Mixture coming up. Let's grab the AWIS. Let's see what's happened. Why have we got massive clouds where I didn't expect any?
Weather Information Service, Ceduna Airport, time 1014 Zulu, wind 070 degrees magnetic at 7 knots, visibility 25 kilometers, cloud clear below 10,000 feet, temperature 6, dew point 3, QNH 1021 hectopascals, rainfall last 10 minutes nil. Automated Weather Information Service, Ceduna Airport, time 1014 Zulu, wind 070 degrees magnetic at 7 knots, visibility 25 kilometers, cloud clear below 1.
Well, that's not giving us much, but there you go. Hey, Action 101's a good guy. I like him. He's good old clip, right? Now as you yell out a bit. Anyhow, we're getting out of that cloud. We're about 40 miles. $4,500. We'll continue down to 3,500. Like the real one. I'm trying to make it stay up and it just keeps on clocking back down. Come on, stay up. Is there somebody clip it up there? Clearly not. Okay then, never mind. It's like one of those as you can imagine, with the 1965 aeroplane, not all of the bits are solid, so I can place it up there, but it tends to fall. Fine. No. Ah, descended too much. There's the salt mine. Close encounters of the cloud kind. Okay, so the CTAF 126.7 is set. Runway 11 and 29, wind 070, so it'll be runway 11, vacating onto runway 35. So vacate runway 35 and then taxiway Bravo into the apron. It's quite possible to do a straight in approach, I think, from this direction. Yeah, not quite straight in. It'll be slightly from the left, so it's not too bad. There's the runway heading. Anyhow, I recognise that Salt Lake. We've added some time. 17, that's Bookerby there. Penang. Penang should be 15, so Penong. Yeah, Bookerby's... Ah, there it is. Little runway at Bookerby. Time's actually... nice, good stuff. I didn't expect that to be in the sim, but there we go. A little tiny township of, is that Penong or Bookerby? That's Penong, cool. So this is a airfield called Penong, and the little township of Penong, which is smaller than the airfield. The airfield's pretty small too. That's good, eh? Penong International Airport. Again, not on the Ursa. Not on any chart that I can see. Only way I know it's there is because I was helping out sort the installation of those satellite subsidy scheme things back for the DBCDE in 2013. Salt mine right there. And that's literally a salt mine. They mine salt, as in sea salt. Sodium chloride. Is that the road or the railway? That's the railway. Cool. That particular railway is mostly used for the grain trains. It's barely used for any passenger stuff. So that's Penong, time 2-2. Because of that turnaround that we did. Actually, I'm going to come 2-1. So at 11 will be 31. 35. Cool. Going to bring the speed back up. Let's try and see if we can get all the way back up to 150 at least. There's not much in the way of townships between the salt mine and Denial Bay, and Denial Bay is essentially almost on top of Ceduna. Ceduna is on the other side of the bay, of the same bay. If you're looking on the map, that there is Denial Bay, that's Ceduna on that side. There's a little township of Denial Bay on this side, and in here we have Davenport Creek. And the Isles of St. Peter. There's a big group of islands just offshore. I say big, but you know, not that big. Speed 155, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Now drifting north of course, so I might bring it back in, although staying north of course isn't too bad because then we don't need to go feet wet over Denial Bay. And stay over land. So the slight drifting northbound isn't too bad of a situation. Of course it does take us away from the coastline, which is where all the interesting stuff is. That said, there's nothing down there, that's a town, so whatever. It's like this little bit of almost, you know, arable land. Wonder what kind of people live out here in the middle of, well, it's not the middle of nowhere anymore. It's getting close enough to Ceduna that it's like an hour drive away, or a couple of hours drive. Because Yalata is outback. Yalata is Aborigine town of people that got removed from their land for nuclear tests. Whereas down here, we're talking farms. We're talking, you know, economic activity. European type people with white skin doing business. Cars and trains and highways and shops. Service stations. Yeah, it's all happening out here. That'll be our creek, Davenport Creek. Right down the bottom there. Kind of mangrove swampy thing. There's the creek running through the mangroves. And Denial Bay straight ahead. The actual township of Denial Bay I think is somewhere around that area. Oh no, it's almost at the top of that, so we're kind of pointed in the right direction at the moment. Only a 2-knot wind currently. And I do want to drop our altitude down to a odd. So 3,500, off we go. Cool, that fuel is down into, was it 15, 14, 13 gallon per tank? Power coming off. Don't need it. Power back. Just trim it out properly now. Right, I aim to fly around the bay and let's runway 11 straight on, slightly from the north. So I'll just pop into a straight funnel, left hand funnel. Yeah, we could square it off and make it a full base. Right, tear it into a left base. Let's make the call. Traffic Ceduna, Delta Oscar Echo is a Piper Comanche, 3,500. We are currently 14 miles to the west of the field. We'll be entering a left base, runway 11, and report the 10. Delta Oscar Echo, Traffic Ceduna. So has anybody heard about A2A's newest thing that they're about to release? I heard something about a twin. I can't remember what it was, but it might have been a Beechcraft Baron. Hoping so. Saw a rumour somewhere. Ah, on Facebook. That's where I saw it. They just dropped a hint that they were going out somewhere to record something. Huh. Good stuff. Aerostar. Hey, if it's a twin, if it's from A2A, I'll buy it. Thank you for that, Iniwim. Aerostar. That's actually a very interesting aeroplane. I like it. If it was a Baron, it would have been a little bit boring, but it's not. There you go. Traffic Ceduna, Delta Oscar Echo, 7 miles from the field, descending out of 2,000 feet. We'll be joining a left-hand base, runway 11. Circle time 36. Did I forget to put the circuit time in the last broadcast? I think I did. Bad me. That's the airfield there. Runways in sight. Gotcha. I'll fly straight down the highway and then straight into a right-hand turn for the left base. Since we're entering at the base, we'll need to have the aircraft configured before we turn. We'll take that point on the highway as if it was the base, as if it was the downwind turn. 120 knots. Yeah, basically anything from air-to-air makes all of the other companies that make GA add-ons feel like they're just playing catch-up. A2A is the top of the line as far as GA is concerned, in my opinion. Not naming any other names, but there's one aircraft that I only used once on this tour, and I probably won't ever use it again, because it was no good. Let us see. QNH should be 1021, that's slightly adjusted there. Three miles out. Township of Ceduna. Gear down. Green. Traffic Ceduna, Delta Oscar Echo entering left base, runway 11. Okay, brakes are released, undercarriage is down and green, mixture fully rich, prop is fully forward. Pump goes on, lights are in. Instrument is set, seats and harnesses are secure. Landing checklist complete. Stage a flap. Microsecond. Traffic Ceduna, Delta Oscar Echo turning final runway 11. Do love how you bleed off speed so easily in the turn. Is it trying to be green or is it trying to be not? Can't tell. It's a bit of everything. $65. Good old subway. I'll be up at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then I'll be off to Moorabbin. Where are we meeting at Aviator? Let me know in the Facebook. Actually I know. It's Victoria Aero Club's parking, isn't it? Duh, obviously. 5 o'clock I should be there, roughly. And I'll bring my buckaroos. Tim Burnett making Karatha, good stuff. That's the thing that I like to hear. That is one of the unfortunately neglected airfields around here. We're vacating onto there, aren't we? Did I U-turn or did I go the right way? I can't tell. What am I heading? I was meant to go up that way. Oh, we're backtracking, that's fine. Traffic Ceduna! Delta Oscar Echo backtracking, runway 11. We'll go up the actual taxiway instead of up the runway. That's not a sealed runway. I was thinking it was. Turns out it's grass. Not that there's anything wrong with going on grass on this aeroplane, but you know. Rex wouldn't do it. Why should we? Yeah, totally. Lacks decent scenery. That's why we don't go there, because no one likes it. I mean, it's close enough to Perth. You could essentially make Karratha to Perth milk run. Imagine that. But we don't have any scenery for the place. Traffic, Ceduna, Delta Oscar Echo, vacated runway 11. 3, 2, 1, actually vacated. Yeah, I forgot to delete some of the old scenery. I've got two airports sitting on top of each other right now. That was probably pretty obvious by the fact that two of them showed up on the runway. I think we'll pop off into the dirt there. Real Ceduna doesn't actually have a tower. Anyway, we'll park next to that Piper Cherokee. Right, brakes are set. Let's go 1000 RPM. Radio's off. Cool. Here we are. Control locks. Let's jump on out. Door closed. Chocks are in. Bito cover. Tie downs. That's it. Alright, nearly 9 o'clock here in Melbourne. Early day tomorrow for me. Possibly a long day tomorrow for me. Possibly. Anyhow, I've been a musical aviator. That's been a trip down to Ceduna from Coober Pedy. Hope you enjoy the flight. And I'll see you guys next time whenever that does happen to be. Bye for now.